their ability. We're not in grade school. What we're rating them on is based on attendance. That's it. So let me go through it here. Track the number of classes per month that they average, and then take a step back and ask yourself, for your yogis, what is an average attendance per month? Are they coming twice a week or 3 times a week? Let's go with the example of 3 times a week as the average that they come. That's 12 times a month, which means if they're coming to 10 lessons or more a month, they're missing 2 lessons or less. That would be an A student. That's somebody who's motivated, somebody that's getting the benefits of your lessons, and somebody who's most likely to refer you to other people. A B would be someone who is coming maybe 7 to 10 times. So they're not necessarily the person that's falling off in their attendance, but they could be just a very busy person, a single parent or something to this effect. So we want to be aware of who our B students are, and we don't need to really worry about them, but it's important to be aware of them so that way if they ever drop into C, which is when they're coming to 25% of the lessons or less, so 4 times a month or 3 times a month, that's somebody that is slowly starting to fall off the attendance wagon, and what's going to happen next is they'll quit. I think we can all agree that a person at your school does not quit overnight. It's usually a 1 to 2 month process where they come less and less, their motivation becomes less and less, and then they become a non-active student. So what do we do with these ratings? We have teachers perform mat chats with the B and the C's when possible. Nothing crazy, guys. Just when someone comes to when you're about to start a lesson and they've come to the studio, review the attendance list of everybody that's there and just see what their rating is. If you have C's that are on the mat that day, walk by and let them know that you miss seeing them around and you hope they can come more often. See if you can extract the main reason why they haven't been coming without being too aggressive, and from there, provide a solution to address it. Let them know of other schedules, of maybe your Saturday classes, and again, we're trying to be as accommodating as possible and show that to these people that we're really centered around their needs. Also, automate we miss you emails. There is absolutely nothing wrong with an email coming to me if I've missed a few lessons in a row saying, hey John, we miss seeing you around the studio. Your energy is really positive and you're a great guy. What's going on? Let us know if there's anything we can do to help. And the last point here is, in case it's something that maybe you're not very interested in because you feel like, again, it could be too pushy, I ask you humbly to connect with what drives you. For some people, it's money of having more students paying higher tuition. For some people, it's knowing that you can improve the life of the students that you're reaching out to. For some people, it's both. But whatever it is that drives you, use that as motivation to stay in contact with these students as they start to fall off the regular attendance. And it's an inevitable way to create growth and abundance within your studio. Okay, the next portion is how to get your staff on board by using a system and sticking to it. Okay. Doing the things that we've discussed today in this webinar are pretty much impossible without a software system. The reason why I say sticking to the system hourly is because you/your staff need to be interacting with the system throughout the day. The reason why I say that is if you don't, it'll become a Rolodex at best. It'll be a place that you can store names, and that's great. You'll know people's names and their phone numbers. But if on a regular basis, as things happen, as someone calls in and says, I'm not going to be in for a while because I hurt my knee, or if someone mentions something about the studio while they're there, or you have a conversation about anything under the sun, by tracking that information, you'll start to build the system. That way, each one of the people on your team can look at a student profile and know who this person is and other conversations that have happened with them. When we do that and we create consistency and we treat everybody as an individual, that is a key to growth. But you cannot do that if you're using the system only on a daily or a weekly basis. It's so easy to forget those important conversations that happen on a daily basis. Now, some people say to me, well, I don't like using a computer. And I have a very harsh answer for those people. You need to find a hot tub time machine and go back in time. The days of managing a business without optimizing your operation with a computer system ended years ago. Okay, I understand that we got into the business because we enjoy what we teach, but teaching yoga is a privilege we get after we learned to keep track of our leads and to keep track of our student relationships. And you need a computer system to do that. You cannot do that in your brain. Even if you can, none of your staff members are psychics, so they don't know what you know. It's so important to get out of the old habits and to use a computer system to manage your business. Make sure the system that you use can do everything we just covered. And that's my cue for the shameless product push. So I'm sorry, I got to do it really quickly. I'm going to show you some screenshots of our system and how it would help you with your yoga business. And then at the end, we'll take some questions. So in the beginning, we talked about making sure all the roads were paved. In the system here, you can see here, and it's a little bit squishy, so if you can't read it, what we're looking at is that each time we generate a new lead, you can get the contact method. Was it a blog? Was it a call? Was it an email? Or was it through Facebook? It's so important to know how they contacted you because that tells you what's their level of interest, and it also tells you what of your channels is strong and what of your communicational channels need some improvement. Then, on a monthly basis or a weekly basis, you can analyze how many of the leads that you generated were from phone calls, emails, walk-ins, and from the web. The one that's the smallest on the pie chart tells you a lot about what you need to do. Communication logs have to be easy to use, but very detailed. So each time someone calls us, or each time we call them, or each time there's an email sent, or someone walks in person, just enter a communication log that looks like this, a brief subject that summarizes what it was, and if you need further details, you can put it in at the bottom there. Once you save it, it's there forever, and you can always see the profile of each student or each lead and what the communication history is with them. In the system that we offer, we track every marketing campaign linked to the leads. So each time you enter a new lead into the system, it'll ask you what was the source of the campaign that generated them. Did they just walk by and see your sign? Was it a student referral? So forth. It's very easy to use, and as a result of using it, you will know what's working and what's not working, so you don't have to guess. And guessing is something we don't want to do, as we said earlier, because it involves time and your money, and we don't have a lot of both to waste. Speaking of which, here's a report that shows you the different marketing campaigns you have in place, and it looks kind of interesting because there's different colors there. What you're looking at is along the bottom, and I know it's a little small, so I apologize, but we've got our Facebook campaign, we've got our website campaign, our school sign. Each one of these is showing us how many leads it generated for that period of time. But further to that, it's also showing you what was the contact method. And the reason why that's so important is because we can agree a campaign that's generating walk-ins or phone calls is superior to a campaign that's only generating emails and web inquiries. So make sure you're aware of both. Cost per lead is made simple. You can see the cost of every campaign that you're running, and you can divide it by the number of leads that it generates. So that way you're always aware of what your cost per lead is with each marketing campaign, and that'll help you make decisions as to what you wish to continue with and what you wish not to continue with. As you know, the local newspaper salespeople are quite effective in making us feel that a print ad is the next best thing, to having students gravitate into your school, but they're trying to sell something. We need to do our homework to make sure that each thing we spend money on is worth it. Which lead would you call? I've got a screenshot here of Outlook. Outlook is a popular software for email, but a lot of people try to use it to manage their contacts. Well, my question is, what lead would you call? One that you just have some basic information about, or one that you can see all the previous history of conversations? Okay, I just got a message here that I lost sound. We're just about done, but I want to make sure you can still hear me. If you can still hear me, everyone, please just type yes in the chat box. Okay, thank you very much. So just finishing up, we talked about the big three, which was knowing why are they interested in yoga, what was the campaign that generated their interest, and how do they contact you. All of that's circled here, and those are things that you can ask as you go through a phone call or when someone comes in. Thanks, Sherry. Now, I talked a lot about sending out emails on a regular basis. I am not talking about doing that manually. You'll pull your hair out trying to keep up with it. So we provide these emails that you can automate after the first contact. It's very simple to do. You can store all of your email templates in one simple to find place, and then from there, the system will manage that communication for you. Confirming appointments is something I really need to stress, and the what's in it for me. Got to give a shout out to my man Steve that's here today. Thanks for coming, Steve. He speaks a lot about when you talk to people for the first time about coming down to your studio, make sure you remind them of what's in it for them. They don't care about how great you are or how easy it is to get to your studio. All they care about is that there's something in it for them when they come through the doors. You'll have a